see if I can do a bit of digging. But as I say, apparently this little chap likes it. Hi Andy, welcome on board this morning. I'm wondering if a lion does kill a baby, are they likely, the females, are they likely to band together and kill the lion? Or they certainly will not be happy, and there'll be a lot of commotion and certainly trying to chase off the lion. But again, it depends, it really will depend on the circumstances. I mean, if there's a lot of lions around, chances are they're not going to be successful. And again, it's all to do with numbers game. It really is. So even if you're the largest land mammal in the world, if there's 30 lions, you're not going to win that battle. Unless there's very, very special circumstances. If the individual is particularly aggressive and quite bold, you might get the lions being so shocked that actually they might just leave their kill. But they really are just absolutely amazing animals. I mean, just the power that they possess. I mean, they could just come and flip this vehicle over if they wanted to, but you can see that's not what elephants are about. You know, generally speaking, they are very, very chilled. And you quite often see, if they're not sure about something, they'll lift their trunk, and if you look carefully, their eyes are very small compared to the size of the head. I mean, look how tiny those eyes are. It's like they're seeing just a blur of what we are. They'll be able to see us, but they say very little detail. So they have the oversized ears, obviously to help keep them cool, but that also helps them to hear. They're just like picking any information up. And then obviously they have the trunk, and the trunk, or the sense of smell, is incredibly good. It's even better than that of a dog's. So they'll quite often lift the trunk facing into the wind and seeing if they can get any information about predators or anything unusual around. Hi Jason. Jason asking if it's painful for elephant to grow their tusks. I would say it's just like a human, because their tusks, they're the front teeth. So they're the incisors. And the babies do actually have milk tusks. And I wonder, you know, when we're children, it can be quite painful when the milk teeth are first breaking through. And I reckon it's got to be the same for a baby elephant. But if you think when we lose our milk teeth, it's not really that painful unless you get a tooth that's a little bit awkward. But otherwise, it's, you know, because the gum's already been broken through, and that pathway's been established, it's not really that painful. So I'd say probably when the tusks are first formed, I think that could be. But then you don't really see the baby being in pain, if you like. You know, you don't really hear them squealing. I mean, obviously with babies they cry, so I don't know. Really interesting one. But I think once the milk teeth have been established, if there is any pain, the actual tusks won't be. So we've just lost sight of them, so we're going to see if we can maybe catch up. It looks like the thick bush is going to be upon us, so we'll see how lucky we are. So in the meantime, let's cross over to Byron and see if he's got anything for you.
I've got nothing, Tara. I've got absolutely nothing. I'm looking at no sign of those leopards anywhere. I'm starting to think maybe it's time to give up a little bit on them for now. Can maybe try again later, but I feel like I need to find something, so I'm taking a different route. Going to go have a look down in the south a little bit, and see maybe we have some luck down there. Not much going on in that area that we were in. It's quite cold now. The temperature's definitely dropped. Senzo, you warm enough? Natalie, you asked if I have a favorite bird. I do indeed. I think my favorite bird is a martial eagle. Just love the martial eagles, but I must be honest, there are few that I really enjoy for different reasons. So the martial eagle, big, powerful eagle, very beautiful, regal, and just it's got a seriousness to it. I think that's the best way I can describe it. It's got these deep set eyes. It looks like these piercing eyes. Just love a martial eagle. The others would be some of the little shagras that dart in amongst the trees, just because they've got beautiful calls. Oh wow! Look at the kudu bull. Look at the kudu bull over there. There we go. That's lovely. Beautiful big kudu bull. Look at that. Look at those horns. There's two. There's one through the back there. Mita, good morning, young Mita. I hope you are having a wonderful evening or start to the day. Now, Mita, you asked, is the kudu as tall as a moose? Now, I think they're very close, Mita, in height, but I think a moose is actually a bit taller. Mita, I know moose get quite big, and I think a moose is a bit taller than a kudu. However, a kudu is tall. It is a big antelope. Oh, look at that. That's a lovely male. That's a very beautiful male. Yeah, he's got serious horns. You can see those white tips. It's also a sign of age. You see that other one through the back there. But his horns aren't nearly as big as this one. Always wonderful seeing these big kudu bulls. Now, often these males move around not quite by themselves, but the males do stick in bachelor herds. Now, look at that. Look what the kudu's doing. You see how he lifted his head up slightly and pushed his horns back? Now, the kudu do that so they can get through the thickets very easily, so their horns don't get caught in the branches. They just lift their heads, and those horns go straight down their back, and they can move through the thickets. Gillian, you're saying that you love the white markings between the eyes. It's known as a chevron. That chevron between the eyes of the kudu. The Inyala also have it. Now the theory is that white in front of the eyes helps reflect light to the eyes when they are moving through the dense, thicker bush. Because a lot of these antelope, they are browsers, so a lot of them prefer the thicker, dense areas. So that helps their eyesight a little bit. That's the theory anyway. As I was saying, these males move around by themselves, all in groups, but the females and the youngsters might move around together, but the males will meet up with them from time to time when they're looking to mate. That was a nice little view. Wonderful, wonderful sight of a kudu bull, sure. Haven't seen a big kudu bull like that for quite some time. Kit, do you ask why do the horns spiral like that? I don't think there's any specific reason why, other than the kudu, all the horns, all the antelope horns are slightly different. The kudu just have these beautiful big spiral horns, and obviously to attract the mate, the big spiral horns, and when they fight, they do lock horns at times. I don't think there's a specific reason. It's just the horns that they have. It's like the oryx, or the gemsbok, or the oryx in the desert areas. They've got those beautiful straight horns, really, really long straight horns. The impala, they've got a slight twist in the horn. In Yala, they've got a slight twist too. So it all depends. Just every antelope species has got a slightly different horn structure, or shape rather. Anyway, it sounds like Tara is still doing very well, enjoying that elephant sighting. I'm very jealous. Let's go back to her and see what they're up to.
Welcome back, everybody. It is lovely just to sit and chill with the largest land mammal in the world. It really is. And they are just enjoying their breakfast. It is just so peaceful. We've got another big group just to our right that I'm hoping is going to be crossing in front of us, but we have some of the younger members of the group that's just been on your screen. But yeah, the rest of the family group are just behind. So this is probably going to be a few different family groups. They often do come together during the winter, and then they tend to break apart during the summer. So they're going to be distantly related. So you'll get the you see like the unit, if you like. So it's just through the bushes there, you've got the unit of probably mother, grandmother, maybe a daughter, and their offspring, and then you'll have maybe the aunt is going to be another small family group somewhere. But they're all going to be females with the offspring, and then as the youngsters get older, the females will either stay with the mother, or they might break away and have their own family unit as they get older. But then you get the young males when they reach about 16, 18, and it's amazing how many similarities there are between elephants and humans. When you get to 16 or 18, they tend to start lagging behind, and they start getting a bit boisterous, and they just have a bit more distance between each other, them and their family. And eventually they go wandering off, and they find the company of other larger males, and that's when they actually learn how to be a man and or a bull. But during the family years, they learn the basics: where to find food, where to find water, where to find nutrients, how to look after themselves, which is obviously very important as well. So it really always is amazing to me how similar elephants are to humans. Hi Jenny, welcome on board this morning. Do I ever feel in danger? It's all about reading the animals, and some animals sometimes have bad days just like humans, and obviously they can't talk, they can't say, hey, you know what, I'm really not in the mood today. So you have to understand what they're trying to tell you using their body language. And occasionally you can get it wrong if you're not listening correctly. Occasionally elephants can be having a bad day but look like they're actually okay, and then all of a sudden they just decide they're going to snap and change. So you're looking for those warnings that that's what's going to happen. But very, very rarely have I ever felt endangered. I can count on one hand, and one of them was actually from a captive animal. It was actually a giraffe, and that was, I really felt threatened that day. And there was just something in his posture and in his eye I cannot explain, but something was different, and I just felt, you know what, he means business. And I managed to get out of the enclosure just as he kicked out, and apparently his hoof was a few centimetres from my head. I don't know what I had done to upset him, but something that day, he was not happy. And as I say, luckily I read the situation and I got out of there. I have never felt threatened in the bush. I've been charged by a female elephant, and again I think there was a predator around, so they were all sort of on tenterhooks anyway, and we'd stopped a good 80-90 meters from them, and she decided she was going to charge towards us, and it was halfway between a warning charge and a full charge, but I think because there was a lot of trees in the way, it diluted the charge, let us say. But I think also it was displacement behaviour. So when they're agitated, and what they're actually agitated at is not there to take it out on, they will then shift their focus to something, and that was what happened. And something said to me, you know what, don't stand and shout, just say something. So I just, as she got about 10 meters or so, she was slowing down, I could see she's slowing down, so I just said to her, hey lady, what's this? And it almost broke that trance or something, and she just stopped dead. And then she realised, oh, okay, we're not a threat, we're not to worry about, and she moved on. But that was pretty intense. Just going to try and reposition. Just see them through there. Is that good for you through there? They're slowly making their way. We're going to get them popping out the bush just now, I think. Slowly making their way. There we go. Hi, Reety. I'm wondering if that's the most thrilling experience I've had on Wild Earth. And that was one of them, certainly. I think having the big male Majingilans walk down the side of the vehicle, literally I could have put my hand out and touched them, all four of them, was quite breathtaking, and my heart was in my mouth. And I think actually the last male lion looked at me, he looked directly at me, and I thought, uh-oh, game over, for a split second, and then he just looked away and moved on. But that was quite incredible as well. And of course you are going to have, the longer you spend in the bush, the more chance you have of having these type of encounters. I mean, obviously you try and limit them, and the lions was done on purpose, because we pulled off the road and they were going to walk down the side of the vehicle. And as I say, you know, we're not food to them. They've got plenty of food out in the bush, so there's not really any reason, as long as they're fit and healthy, for them to actually attack. And again, you do get warnings, and they were just calmly walking down the side of the vehicle or down the road. So quite often as a guide, you give your guests that experience as well. So you park off the side of the road and just let them walk by, and it really is something you cannot describe unless you've actually had that experience of such a powerful animal being that close to you. And it's the same with the elephants as well. And you know, they have this ability to be able to tip over the vehicle if they wanted to, but as we're showing here, they're quite happy chilling and enjoying their breakfast. Now I wonder if anyone has actually got back to us about the horns of the kudu. It'd be nice to actually get an update on that. Okay, I'm hearing the female at the back grumbling. Okay, so we're still waiting to hear if anyone can find... Oh, we've got some babies coming through. Oh, look at that. Oh, but thanks, Maggie. Maggie having a look for us. Couldn't find anything about the weight. of the horn. So that one's still open. Hashtag Safari Live. If anyone can look up the weight of Kudu horns, because unfortunately that one has slipped my memory. But here we come. We've got the family coming through now with a few babies that might pop out onto the road. Hi, Melinda. Wondering if elephants are the same as humans in terms of life expectancy, with females outliving males. And that one, I think, could be roughly about the same. The reason being, if disease or an injury that becomes infected, they have 6 sets of teeth throughout their life, and these teeth are massive molars, and they move like a conveyor belt. Here we go, they're going to cross the road now. They've been given the marching orders. So the teeth move from the back of the mouth to the front, and the last set can wear down. So they wear down at roughly the same pace, the females and the males. So if disease doesn't get to them, the starvation eventually, and that can happen around 60, 70 years of age. So I think Byron's got something for you, so we're going to say goodbye to you for now and see what he has.
Now, I have got something interesting, everybody. So my plan of just moving out of the area and having a look around elsewhere has paid off. I want to show you quickly. Have a look at this. Now, I had a quick look, but have a look here. Now, Senzo, can you see this track over there? There we go. That's a male leopard track right here. Now, there's one track. Look here, here's another track. Looks like a female. This is possibly the mating pair, everyone. Just looking at the tracks here, it looks like there are 2 leopards walking along the road here, because one track is slightly off to the right and then one track off to the left. We're quite far from where they were last night. We're all the way down at that prominent torchwood, that Balanites. So they turned and they decided to come south, but they've walked along here. These tracks look fresh. They look like from maybe early this morning, which is good. So at least we're heading in the right direction. Oh, they go all the way along down here. I've been sitting listening. I haven't heard anything, but I also don't know how far they've travelled. They could have gone a little further, but at least we have clear tracks of them now. That's exciting. So let's see. I'm going to try my best to track these leopards. It's not always easy, especially if they head off road through the thickets. Sorry, I'm just listening to Chantal again. No, so James, you're asking about leopards that mate. For example, a female leopard. You're saying if a female leopard may mate with a male that they feel is less dominant, that they make themselves less fertile. I don't know about that. That doesn't make sense to me, and I'll tell you why. Is when females mate, they won't go and mate with a male that isn't dominant or that is less dominant. It's unlikely. It's unlikely. They will go and mate with a male that they feel is possibly dominant, and often they'll mate with two different males because they want to ensure the safety of their cubs. It's not to say that they know exactly which male I think is going to impregnate them. Then you say that you were asking if the females will make themselves less fertile if they've got a dependent cub. If they've got a dependent cub, they're not going to mate. No, that's just it. They have to look after that cub. They won't go and mate with another male. I've never heard of that happening. Look, I may be wrong, but I don't think so. The females or leopard, animals in general, mate to have offspring. Okay, I suppose dolphins apparently are different, but out here, animals mate to have offspring. The female is not necessarily just going to go mate with a male for the sake of mating, thinking, well, he's probably not going to be dominant in a few years, or a year's time, whatever. It's unlikely. It's highly unlikely. And especially if she's got a dependent cub, she's not going to go and mate with another male just for the sake of mating. And I've never heard of that. Sometimes a female may try and mate with the male. If he comes in, if he's aggressive, she may try and present herself so that he then thinks maybe if there's a youngster in the area that it's his, possibly. That may happen, but it's quite unusual. It doesn't often happen. I think I've heard of that happening once or twice before, but it's unusual. You know what? I think these tracks of these leopards head straight through this block in that direction. So I think. Okay, well, let me carry on actually down here, and I might come up that other road, that new road. Let me carry on searching around this area. Hopefully I have some luck this morning. Let's go back to Tara, who's still sitting with those elephants.
Hi everybody. Yeah, we were going to move on, but something interesting just happened. So there was an elephant that looked like she wasn't too happy, and we couldn't work out why. We thought maybe I'd just offended her. But this bull crept up behind us, and I think it was that she wasn't interested. So he's now coming into this family group, and he's just checked the female who's going to be crossing shortly. So he just went to check her. Now he's going over to check another female. Sorry, I'm making you bounce around. So, he's actually going to greet her. So he went up to the other female and actually put his trunk between her legs, and that's very typical of them checking to see if female's in estrus. But that other female he's just gone up to see that we caught on screen then, he went to put his trunk in her mouth, and that's actually how elephants greet each other. And it is, he's actually, I don't know if you just saw the youngster reaching up towards his mouth then, so the youngster was actually greeting him as well. Now I can't smell him, he's not in must, so there might be a female that is actually in estrus that's pulled him into this family herd. And usually when a female is in estrus, they'll actually advertise it. So they actually call it the estrus chorus, and quite often the female members of the herd will join in to really advertise the fact. But it doesn't seem to be any of these females are interested, so I wonder if it's a female further up the herd. But even if a male is not in must, and must is just meaning that they're full of testosterone, it actually is an Urdu word for intoxicated, because that's when elephants can be extremely volatile, or a female with very small offspring. But if a male is in must, you must give him quite a wide berth and just check out what the temperament's like. Now, generally speaking, the younger bulls are more temperamental than the older bulls. The older bulls have been through it, they know what to expect, and they're a lot more chilled when they're in must than, as I say, what the youngsters actually are. but they can still be quite dangerous. So you can smell them. It is a very strong urine smell, and it dribbles down the leg, so you can see it visibly. And apparently that's supposed to be quite attractive to the females, but what it also means, it gives them the edge. So if they've got a lot of testosterone running around the body, it gives them the edge for being strong and bold, and the females are more likely to mate with a male that's in must than not. And again, coming into must, it means that they have to be in tip-top condition, so that in a way that is a sign of how strong they actually are. So advertising that, again, if the female wants to mate, then their offspring is going to do well. So that bull, if there's another bull that's in must around, I don't think he's going to get a look in, even though he was quite a large bull. But he seemed to be on a mission, so somebody must have said something that he's picked up on. So they've headed into the bush. We're going to carry on, and actually, while it's still in my head, let me see if I can. I was hoping the sun might come out, but maybe I can actually shine up. Oh, it's not really shining silver, is it? No, it's not really coming up, unfortunately. I can maybe if I turn it that way, you might be able to catch a silvery sheen there, but not so much. Which makes me think perhaps it is actually, oh no, the silver hairs are there. I was thinking maybe it was a green cluster leaf, but it's actually not. It is still silver. I can see the small silvery hairs. But apparently I didn't pick a good enough sample, sadly. But silver cluster leaf for chewing and helping with a toothache. I'll see if I can find one with better silver hairs so it shines up. So apparently you guys have been finding some leopard tracks. So we're not writing the leopards off just yet. I'm going to head down towards Treehouse Dam, see if there's anything around there, leaving the elephants to carry on south. Unless they pop out onto Gowrie Main, then we might have another look to see if that bull's caught up with the female that might be in estrus, because that would be really exciting to see, an elephant mating. Because they will mate with bulls that aren't in must if there's no other males around, and the female will allow the male to follow her, and she'll kind of pull him away from the herd. It's probably likely to make sure that the calves are nice and safe, and she'll kind of wander off and he'll follow. And I think we have caught it once on Safari Live quite a while back, of an elephant mating. I've never seen it personally. That would be quite spectacular to see. Hello, Impala. So I'm wondering if anyone has come back with the weight of kudu horns, otherwise I might have to do some research later on. Nope, no one's come back. Okay. I shall have to do a bit of research and see where I've written it down. Unless Byron can remember, maybe Byron knows. Just trying to think. I can't even think of what region it was in. So the elephant tusk can weigh up to 100 kilos for a big bull elephant, each tusk, which is about the same size as a baby elephant. A baby elephant on either side, but I'd say that's for the big bulls. But the horns on the kudu, I don't know, maybe around, at a guess, maybe about 30 kilos for the pair, maybe. Otherwise, yeah, I shall do some research and hopefully let you know on afternoon drive, unless somebody comes back to us. Pretty Chatty Meg, welcome on board this morning. Good to hear from you again. I'm wondering if kudus are aggressive like buffalo. Not usually. Again, when it's around the breeding season, kudus could become a bit more aggressive, and again, if they've been sparring, they can have that displacement behaviour like I was talking about. They might thrash the bush just to get a bit of frustration out. But generally speaking, they're pretty chill. They're nice and laid back. A lovely, lovely antelope. Quite magnificent. Oh, so I do wonder how Byron's getting on with the tracks. So I think we're going to see how he is getting on. Oh, giraffe. Hello, beautiful boy. Just goes to show, you don't know what's going to happen when it's live. Wasn't expecting to find him there. So I think I'm going to reposition, see if we can get a nicer view of him. So in the meantime, if you want to catch up with Byron and see how he is getting on with his tracks, we'll come back to you hopefully with a better view of this bull giraffe.
So I haven't seen any more tracks. Done a big loop around this area. I'm heading back in the direction where those tracks were now. But I'm just stopping, I'm listening again. I'm hoping that I pick up some sound of these animals. These two leopards. It's very difficult at times, but often listening out, it helps so much. Now, you see, the thing is, they didn't carry on walking down the road. They cut off, and from what I saw, it looked like they headed in this direction. I may just go back and double check those tracks again and just try to see exactly which direction they left the road, but it did appear as if it was this direction. So maybe, I think I'm going to give it another 2 minutes. I'm going to sit here very quietly, just going to listen and see if I can't hear anything. Let's head back to Tara, who's got that beautiful giraffe for you.
Well, as promised, we've managed to get into a slightly better position to see this beautiful bull. He's listening to something. Now, they might not talk a lot, but if you listen, they do say a lot with their body and their ears. Now, if you think at how tall a giraffe can get, I have heard of males getting up to 6 meters tall, but that's not the norm. Generally speaking, males will get maybe 4.5 meters. But so they can see for pretty far, so it's very difficult to actually creep up on a giraffe, and especially if they've got their ears looking forward, which is an alert position. That means that they have seen something, and especially if a giraffe is alert, even though most things can't harm them, they will still be alert for lion especially. I have seen them being alert for a leopard, with it being a large cat, and occasionally you do hear of leopard taking out especially young giraffe. An adult giraffe is going to be quite difficult for them. So if you're able to find a giraffe and look, if they are showing that alert position, see where they're looking, quite often they're spot on that there is something there. So that's why I always listen to a giraffe. Now the white, you might think, why do they have white ears? If you look at the rest of the body, it's dark, especially with this bull. They do get darker with age. Generally speaking, males get darker than females. But you can see there's the light brown or beige in between. So why would they have white ears? Maybe have a think about that. And the ears are quite small compared to those of elephants and other animals. Why might they have white ears? Hashtag Safari Live if you think you know the answer. Now, that long neck can cause issues for a giraffe. Obviously it can be about 2 meters in length, so it's really far from the heart. It's 2 meters above the heart, so that's going to be pretty difficult to get the blood from the heart up to the top of the head. It's got to be under a lot of pressure. But the problem comes in, even though they've gotten over that problem of having the pressure. I think someone actually did give us the pressure. I think it was like 240/80, and I keep meaning to check out what it is for a human, but it's obviously nowhere near that much. So they've got extremely high blood pressure, so they can pump the blood up there. The heart's about 12 kilos in weight, so they've got one of the largest hearts to body ratio of all the mammals, and as I say, rightly so, because they've got to pump that blood up there. The big problem comes in when they put their head below the heart, so when they actually need to drink. So the giraffe actually has a lot of adaptations to basically stop its head from exploding when it puts its head down. So in the artery, the blood vessel that actually takes blood from the heart to the head, and other animals, it doesn't have any valves, it's just the veins that have valves, and the veins help to stop blood flowing back on itself. But in the giraffe, these valves are found in the artery, so it actually stops the blood going too quickly to the head. Oh, hello, beautiful. He's showing us your best side. They also have a sponge-like network of blood vessels at the base of their brain as well, and it's called a wonderful net, or rete mirabile. Sorry, it's tripping over my tongue there. Rete mirabile. So it's the tiny blood vessels, the capillaries, and they actually act like a sponge. So the artery is already slowing the blood down, but by the time the blood reaches the brain, this net of blood vessels can actually soak up blood as well. And because it's going into the small blood vessels, it's slowing it down again. So it really is, there's a lot of adaptations there to help the giraffe. And without it, as I say, as soon as it put its head down, it would die. So I think we've got some answers for why the giraffe has white ears. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys come back with. Roxy, yes indeed, giraffes communicate with their ears. Well done, Roxy, bragging rights to you today as well. Very impressed. So, like we're saying, the eyes right up there on the top of the head, the ears not far behind, but as I say, the ears are going to be on the same level, so the other giraffe, if they're in a small herd, can actually see each other over the tops of the trees and in amongst all the branches. So they can actually keep an eye on where each other is. And the white just stands out like a sore thumb. Now unfortunately we're not in the right position, that the sun is just behind the giraffe, so it's not shining up that white. But if you're behind and the sun especially is shining them up, you can really see those white ears jump out at you. And sometimes that's the first thing that you see on the giraffe, is those white ears. Hi Michelle, welcome on board this morning. Michelle asking, do giraffes sleep standing up? They can, But they don't sleep for long periods of time. If they go into a deep sleep, they can sit down, but as we said, they can't put the head down for very long periods of time. Again, they would have the problem that the sponge would stop working. So again, they can't put the heads down for long periods of time. So they can sit down with their heads sticking up, and they can sleep maybe 5 or 6 times during the day or night. And if they go into a deep sleep, it can be, 10, 12 minutes at a time. And that'll be when they're in a deep sleep. And if they go into a very deep sleep, they will sometimes rest their head on the back. So they kind of curl it around and rest it there. So that's when you know a giraffe is really in a deep sleep. As I say, they take short, intense naps. Now he's looking again at something moving. So I'm going to stick with this giraffe and see if he's actually spotted something of interest. But apparently Byron has had some luck with some warthogs.
I have indeed. So maybe this is a sign that our luck is changing a little bit this morning. Some warthogs, but even these warthogs, you can see 1 or 2 running through the back there. They disappear so well in this long grass at the moment. The dry grass anyway. I've been listening very, very carefully. I haven't heard any sounds that sound like mating leopards. Looks like a lot of warthog through there. I can't see exactly, but it looked like at least 6 or 7 warthogs walking through there, but you can see it's very difficult to see. I think there's more actually. That would be a wonderful meal for a leopard. I do enjoy warthogs. Not always easy to catch them. And some. But you see, look how well camouflaged they are. I think let's carry on with our leopard search. I'm hoping, I don't know, maybe we still have luck. There's we've got about half an hour or so left, or 40 minutes left. Maybe that's enough time to find some mating leopards. I will be so happy if that does happen. But it just shows you driving around, you've got to be aware and alert and not give up if you are tracking something. But it is difficult tracking alone. It helps if there's another vehicle that can help, or you can check different areas, listen different times. Can make it a lot easier then. Anyway, let's see what we can find. I'll try my best, I promise. Let's head back to Tara and see how it's going, if she's still with that giraffe or what she's found now. She's having a lucky morning.
Haha, I am indeed. But hopefully there might be some luck at the end. Say, it's never over until the camera is stopped rolling. So I'm still holding thumbs for you. See if we have any luck with those leopard tracks. So there was another vehicle that came through. That's why we've just had to move. So we're blocking the road. So whatever had caught his attention, it's obviously not enough to hold it. So I don't think there's a predator there. But I think there was something moving through the undergrowth, but I couldn't see what it was. But as I say, he didn't seem to be too fazed by it. Now, a giraffe can actually defend itself with the long legs. They can give quite a nasty kick, and they are able to kick and defend themselves from a lion or any other. Well, it really would be a lion that would go for them. There's not really anything else that size giraffe that would actually attack. And interestingly enough, especially in the Kruger where there's the tar roads, they've actually found that many of the giraffe hunts actually happen on something like 1% of Kruger, and that tends to be the tarmac roads, especially when it's raining. So lions have been known to chase the giraffes onto the tar roads, and when they're wet, then it'll slip and fall, and that's when the lions can actually come in. Now you can see really nicely now what I was saying earlier, if the sun's shining on those ears, those white ears just shining up. Absolutely beautiful. He's still listening to us. So you can really see how well that's going to work with other giraffe. Now it is normal to find a bull by himself, and you can get a group of giraffes, and it's quite a loose society, so it's not with the kudu, they'll tend to stay together. With the elephants, as I say, they're small family units, they'll stay together. But with giraffes, it depends on what they feel like on the day. They might decide, you know what, I'm going to stay with my friend, the other female, for a few days, and then she'll wander off, maybe need a bit of alone time. I think the most I've ever seen has been about 15 giraffes. So I think we're going to leave him. Chit. Was it Chit or Kid? Chit. Kid. Kid was wondering if giraffes were usually solitary. So hopefully that's answered your question, Kit. See? Picked up on telepathically. So we're almost at Twin Dams, so we're going to have a look around there, and we're going to go through the Milwati, which was where Byron had the leopard a couple of days ago. So the riverbeds are usually quite a good area to check, although this time of day you might find the leopards sunning themselves on a termite mound. But last night wasn't too cold, but the wind is picking up, and I do wonder if it is going to bring rain, because it has been quite blustery. Anna Marie, have I had a surprising encounter with a leopard that actually scared me? I have. Although I think both of us were scared at the same time. So I went out to go and check the vehicle just before drive, and in those days we only had the one vehicle going out, we didn't have the two. So I went out, and it was dark, as it usually is before the setup, and as I came out of my room it was just that vague light, so it would have been enough just to see some movement, and I actually did see some movement, something about 10 meters, 15 meters just up the little road behind the little lump in the road. Something crouched, and as I say, I'd literally just woken up, just got myself sorted, 5-10 minutes, walked out, so I'm still half asleep. So I kind of took a second look, and I squinted and realised that actually it was a leopard. And by that point there was just enough light that I could actually see a few spots, so I could actually work out that it was a leopard. And you're not supposed to run, you're supposed to stand your ground. But as I say, half asleep in the morning, and I was right next to the vehicles in the garage, and I went, ah, leopard, and the leopard went, ah, human. So I dived into the garage, and the leopard shot off. And I did find the tracks later, and it turned out that they were the size of Karula. It was right in the middle of her territory or core area, so I'm pretty sure Karula paid me a visit that morning. As I say, half asleep. You don't always follow the rules of the bush. But yeah, luckily the garage was there, so I could just dive in. But that was probably the one that sticks out the most. So we're at Treehouse Dam, seeing if there's any movement around, seeing if there's anyone lying on the banks. Now this changed after the cyclone hit. This changed. So this has now opened up completely, a big sandbank, whereas before it wasn't that wide. So that was one of the biggest changes after the cyclone in January 2012. So I think we're going to carry on looking around this area, see if we can find you anything of interest. And in the meantime, I think Byron's got something to show you.
No, nothing yet, but I just went back to where I had those last tracks just to double check I didn't miss anything. They've definitely headed into this block. Now, we did a loop right around. I didn't see any tracks coming out on the other side, but I wonder, I mean, it's so difficult. They could very easily be in here somewhere. Oh, it is frustrating. If we just had a sound, any little sign or hint of exactly where they are. Oh well, what I'm going to do, so I'm going to drive around, I'm going to check the boundary roads to see if they've crossed out of the boundary. If we don't have any tracks around there, then we know they have to be in this area somewhere. And even if we don't have luck this morning, maybe this afternoon they come out somewhere and we can have a look around here. Keep your eyes peeled, Senzo. Maybe we spot a leopard moving around. See, it is still very cool, so chances are they could easily be moving around. I'm sorry, Chantal, I didn't copy Priscilla's question there. Can you just give it to me again, please? Priscilla, we were chatting a little bit about this morning with the mating, leopards mating and offspring and cubs, and you asked, would a male leopard ever eat young leopard cubs? So eating the cubs is not really something they do. I have heard of it happening before, but they may potentially kill the cubs if they do not belong to them. The reason for that is because it's just probably they feel it's competition. They also would like to force the females to come into estrus a lot quicker. So that is why they would do that. But it's not something that happens often, and also the eating of cubs is not something that happens regularly. Predators don't really eat other predators. I mean, to be honest, I've seen a hyena eat another predator, but hyenas are scavengers. They'll eat just about anything. And then I know of male lions when they fight, and if they kill another lion, I have heard and seen of a male lion eating another lion. Now, I think we think the theory behind that is that it's a dominance display. They're so aggressive. They've been fighting, obviously killed another lion and then ate part of it. Not all of it, but part of it. And I think it was just a pure dominance display. Just want to double check around here. Just see if there are any tracks on these roads. There's zebra tracks, there are impala tracks, there is... looks like wildebeest tracks. Well, there's an impala. There's impala straight ahead there. Well, there we go. That's good. Tracked and found impala, everyone. Yeah, sometimes, when you've got it, you've got it. Oh, dear. All right. I'm going to check around a little bit further. Maybe I can track and find this leopard rather. That would be a bit better to claim than the impala. See, whoever says we don't have a stressful job, they've never tried to track mating leopards before. It's very stressful. Now these impalas seem quite relaxed. Those warthog we saw earlier seemed relaxed. So we can, like Tara was saying, with the giraffe that she had, often watching giraffe is very important, and they might lead you to something because they're very curious, and the body language and that is a good giveaway of a predator possibly being around. But that goes without saying, really. I think with the other animals too, is that if you have a look and see, maybe, just maybe, they might also alert you to predators being in the area. And I'm going to drive along this fire break. The reason why I've chosen the fire break is because actually no cars have driven along here, so chances of me chances of me finding leopard tracks crossing this road are a lot easier than the road over there. That's a lot busier. Alright, so let me concentrate for a second here and have a good look. Let's head back to Tara. Has she got another tree perhaps to show you?
I do have a tree trunk to show you. So this is the trunk of a cluster leaf, Terminalia, and that does look like a silver cluster leaf again. Unfortunately the sun is not helping us with our mission to find a silver cluster leaf that we can show you the silver hairs, but hopefully at some stage we will. But the reason why I stopped by this tree was to show you the mud on the tree. And this mud would have been put there by termites, and in particular fungus growing termites. So they put the mud on the tree, so they'll cement it together with saliva so that it becomes extremely hard, and that will then cover the trunk so that they can actually work underneath it without fear of getting sunburn or eaten. But I haven't seen them actually. They're usually all over the show. The black-headed barbet, the dark-capped bauble, getting my birds mixed up. So the dark-capped bauble is quite an intelligent little bird, and it'll actually peel the bits of sand off, so then they can eat the termites underneath. So that'll be why some of this is actually flaked away, and some of it would have been pulled away because of the dark-capped bauble. So very intelligent little birds. So once the termite has actually taken away a piece of the bark, it will then go into underground and into its nest, and then there they'll actually grow fungus on the vegetation, and it'll actually be the liquid the fungus produces that the termites will actually eat. So they're actually farming the fungus to help them break down the cellulose that's in that bark and in any of the vegetation that they bring back, because they're not able to actually break it down. So then they eat the liquid that is left over from the fungus. And obviously the fungus benefits because then it actually has somewhere, some food to grow on. So they both get something out of relationship, and that's actually known as a mutualistic symbiotic relationship. So if both sides get something out of it, they both benefit. It's a mutualistic relationship. So we're going to carry on towards Treehouse Dam. So Twin Dams didn't really have anything around it. Sorry if I called it Treehouse Dam before. So we were actually at Twin Dams, heading towards Treehouse Dam now. Still hoping that maybe a cat might magically appear on the termite mounds. Also looking along the bush newspaper, see if there's any sign of movement overnight. because it's quite a pleasant temperature. I've actually taken my coat off. As many of you know, I don't like the cold. So it's quite a pleasant temperature. It's still a little bit overcast. So the nocturnal species are possibly out and about still, especially during the winter time, because the temperatures are cooler. Hi John, in England, my home country. Hope you're enjoying the drive this morning, John. John wanting to know what my favourite nocturnal animal is. It's a difficult one. It is a difficult one. There's so many. But I think the aardvark, it's been so long since I've actually seen an aardvark. I think that's got to be one of my favourite nocturnal animals. Obviously aside from the leopard, but I'm thinking more on the animals that you don't get a chance to see. But the leopard is obviously the main one. But as I say, the leopard can be active during the day, especially if you've got female with cubs who are needing to hunt. If a cat hasn't fed for a few days, it will also be out and about. I've seen leopards hunting midday, hottest part of the day in the summer, which said to me she was hungry, so she needed to use that time to actually find something to eat, so they make opportunities for themselves. If you've got a cat that's sleeping, it generally means that they aren't as hungry. So we're heading up Weaver's Nest Road. There seems to have been a lot of vehicle movement up and down here, so it's kind of obliterated all the tracks from last night. But hopefully once we get towards Treehouse Dam, then there's not going to be as much movement there, so we might be able to read the paper again. Oh, beautiful. We've got the light at the right angle. A lilac-breasted roller sitting in the tree there. There we go. Absolutely beautiful. I think if you're able to, you can count up to about 12 different colours on a lilac-breasted roller. The sun's just coming out. I'm just wondering if we can actually go a bit further now that you've seen it. Maybe I can get a little bit further and we can get the full side in the sun. That would be really nice. So please just stay there. Work with us here. Quite amazing against the backdrop of the cloud at the back there. And you can see fiercely holding on to that branch because it is quite breezy this morning. So I do wonder if we are going to get rain. Now it's actually called a roller because of the display it gives during the breeding season, and they'll actually roll over in the sky. It really is quite something to watch, the acrobatic display of the rollers. But hopefully you can make out the green on the cap. And the turquoise blue. I'm sorry, I missed the comment from Luke. Apparently Luke's saying something, but I kind of missed what he was saying. Oh, so fluffy. Yeah, I thought I had misheard it. I thought Luke had said it's so fussy. I was thinking that doesn't make sense. But yes, it is very fluffy, and that's quite normal, especially in the wintertime. Birds will fluff themselves up to help increase the air between the feathers, and air is actually a very good insulator. So if they fluff the feathers up, they've got that air packed close to their body, and that helps to keep them warm. But I think it's actually the sun, not the sun, the wind blowing the feathers rather than the bird actually lifting the feathers itself. Unfortunately, as pretty as they are, they don't have the nicest of calls. It's kind of like a and that seems to be the way of it. It always has to balance out. It's just like the impala. Beautiful looking antelope, and not the nicest of voices. With the definitely Riti, beautiful colours. And it looks like the sun's going behind the cloud again, putting our lilac-breasted roller into darkness. So let's carry on. Hopefully you got some nice screenshots. Oh, and you might be able to get to see all the different colours on the lilac-breasted roller. So I'm wondering if Byron's had any luck with the tracks again. I say, show's not over yet, holding thumbs. So let's see if he has.
Oh no, it doesn't look like a Tara. I think what's happened, I saw one track of a leopard crossing the boundary into Arethusa, and I think both those leopards crossed there. Obviously a lot of vehicles have driven along the access roads, but it looks like they crossed into Arethusa, unfortunately. So that's the way it goes sometimes. Very frustrating, but you never know. They could be moving around. They could end up back aside this afternoon or tomorrow. But yeah, it looked. I think they crossed all the way through this block, and they went out basically almost right at the southwestern corner of Djuma, and then they crossed onto Arethusa. It's very unfortunate. Oh well, it's always fun tracking, and the excitement of and the anticipation of tracking and trying to find the animals. You never know if you're going to, but it is still fun, and you bump into stuff along the way, which is great. Michelle, you asked, do any of the leopards here fish? I've never seen one with a fishing rod. I've looked, but no anglers out here. No, Michelle, I'm just joking. Obviously, I know what you mean. If you saw those two young leopards, Hosanna and Shungila, I think both of them actually tried to catch terrapins. Now, it's not quite fish, but it's a reptile in the water. When these mud wallows dry up certain times of the year, the catfish in that especially are more exposed, and the leopards will definitely try and catch some of those catfish. I've never seen it personally, but I know they do it. I know leopards do it. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of the leopards in this area either has done it or will do it at some point in the future. And like I said, it's mainly when you have a drought or dry season, those mud wallows dry up, some of those fish are a bit exposed, and then those leopards would then try and catch something. So that would explain also why we didn't hear the leopards this morning, because they're not here. Yeah, it looked like those tracks crossed. This is unfortunate. Alright, oh no, you see, Tara's on her dung mission again. I'm starting to worry about Tara a little. Anyway, let's go see what she's found this time.
doing well then. It's only taken 3 days, 4 days for them to start worrying about me. Yeah, unfortunately I do have a bit of an obsession. So we've got a blacksmith lapwing adult on the right of your screen, but it is actually the dung that we stopped for. So we're going into another who dung it. So if Craig could zoom in for you, hopefully you'll be able to see. A little bit more. So we're looking at another toilet or a midden, and I do have a few bits to show you up close. So just a little bit smaller, so I'll pull the other bit of dung out. So that's next to my hand, so hopefully it shows you how small the pellets are, and I'll break one open for you as well so you can see inside. So if I open it up there, so again you can see it's very fine detail in there. So as I say, that's next to my finger there. So I did take it from the midden, so that's what we had to begin with. So that's our wildebeest. So just to try and give you a size comparison there. So who dung it? #Safari Live. And I just noticed there's a few birds in the tree there, and there are a couple of species. Let's see who you've got. So if you're able, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so we've got a canary on the right, and I think it's a quelea on the left. I'll have to have a look. So we've got a red bill. Oh, I don't know if you saw that. I think the bird actually grabbed one of the hooked thorns there. It looked like it actually stabbed itself. It looked like it was kind of going, ow! And he moved his foot, so I think that's what possibly happened. Shame. Hopefully you can hear that faint little song from them as well. So if anyone feels out my bird on the left, just remind me if it is a red-billed quelea or if it's a different species. So while you want to figure that one out, #Safari Live if you want to help me out with the bird there. And also for the who dung it. So I'm going to keep hold of that so we can come back to it if we need to. We're going to carry on over the dam wall of Treehouse Dam. And actually I was reliving a sighting here. So some of you might remember we were actually coming in from that direction if I remember rightly, and we had Mafuffanyan, who's the grandfather of some of Karula's cubs, and he was also thought to be the father of Karula's first cubs, so Tandy and Shadow, who you've been hearing a lot of recently. Over there, Karula's third cub, Shivambalana, the little male, he was about a year old at the time, and this wasn't long after we had the interaction with his father and his brother down to the right of me, also in this strange line. So it was one of the areas that they really liked. So the big sighting that we had, that we wrote the paper on, happened just to my right here. So we had Mafuffanyan crossing the dam wall where we're sat now, and we had a big male leopard just up ahead of us, hidden on that side of the wall, and as I say, Shivambalana on the left, and we came in from the other side, and Mafuffanyan actually walked over the dam wall, and that male didn't like the look of him because he was a big male leopard. He had a very big dewlap, which says that he's a very old male. So as he walked along, that male decided, you know what, I'm out of here. I don't think I can handle that fight. So luckily he ran off, and Shivambalana was staying around the tree there, and as Mafuffanyan walked around, I thought, I wonder if he's going to go up to him. And Shivambalana actually, I think, realised it probably wasn't going to be a good idea. But Mafufanyaan didn't even bat an eyelid, and yet that leopard had been known to kill other leopard cubs, but they were much smaller. So it could be that Shivambalana was a year old, so maybe he just wasn't worth his time. It could be that he smelt Karula on him, so maybe he had that association. Could even be that maybe had been some interaction that we hadn't actually seen on camera, that if Karula had interacted with Mafufanyaan previously, who's thought to be her father, could be that maybe he interacted with those cubs. There are so many possibilities as to why he maybe left Shivambalana that day. But say, just being here, I just remember talking about it last night, and I thought I'd share it with you. Some of you might remember that sighting with us, some of you might just enjoy hearing that, because I think you've been talking about that sort of thing with Byron quite a lot this morning. So it'll certainly be interesting to hear some of his stories as well. So we're going to carry on. Have we got any answers for our whodunit? Sina says a giraffe. Not quite. Giraffes are much, much bigger. But definitely on the right lines with the herbivore again. Not hippo. Hippo again, quite big, and also quite a lot of large pieces in that dung, and nice and spread out as well because they flick their tails. And deer watcher was that, saying waterbuck. Not quite. Waterbuck are quite large again, about the same size as wildebeest. Snorking Maiden, Nancy, and quite a number of you getting it right. It was impala. So impala do use middens, they do use the toilets to mark their territory, and as I say, we've been hearing them giving the territorial call this morning, and well, the roar, that kind of vibe, if you hear that on the dam cam. And so they are going into that very short rut to hopefully capture the females that weren't caught the first time round in March and April. But apparently Byron might have another antelope for you to have a look at.
I do indeed, a bit larger than the impala that left that dung for you, Tara. We've got a female kudu this time, and they're just busy browsing, and that one's actually chewing the cud currently. That jaw working, looks almost like it's chewing gum, doesn't it? Constantly chewing, just re-chewing the cud, the food that it's regurgitated. Now I know Tara was explaining the different digestive systems this morning, and we can see that this kudu is doing exactly that, ruminating. So re-chewing the food before it swallows it again, and that's why these ruminants have such an efficient digestive system. Nice to see some female kudu too, also blending in quite well with their surroundings. Sure, well, it looks like our luck was just not around this morning. I'm going to go and, I don't know, do whatever I need to do to find some lucky beans, or see, hopefully this afternoon my luck increases so that we can find something. But we were close, hot on the tail of those leopards, but they beat us to it anyway. We'll see this afternoon what we can find. Maybe, I don't know, what can we look for this afternoon? Maybe head towards Chitwa Dam, have a look around there, spend some time down there. And we'll see. At least Tara had those elephants and she had giraffe. A really nice morning. And we'll see you all again on the Sunset Safari later this afternoon. Hope you're all having a great weekend where you are. And that you have a wonderful Sunday. Nice and relaxing Sunday, hopefully. A big thank you to Tara on the other vehicle, obviously. Tara and Batman. And it was fun to bump into them. It's always funny when we bump into one another out on drive and have a quick chat before we carry on. And thank you, Chantal and Alice. Alice, the dark horse, Black Beauty, in final control. And Senzo, thank you, sir. You can go and rest now, okay? We will, as I said, we'll see you all this afternoon. Thank you very much, everyone, for all the questions again and the comments. And we will see you this afternoon out on safari again. Goodbye, farewell, have a wonderful day, everyone. We'll see you later. Cheers.